Oh my gosh! Wait a second. Oh! I'm the smartest man alive.
Yes. Yes. All right, I'll tweet it.
The live stream is about 20 seconds behind us, but this is great.
Yeah, we don't have to watch it. That's good, because that'd be super weird. All right, I'm just tweeting this out that we're live, and then
I just did as well.
Cool. All right. Well, hey guys, I figure people will probably be getting on to watch this soon, which is weird, but great.
Is it though? I don't know if this is really great.
Oh no, man! It's gonna be great. It's great weather. We're outside.
Best ever.
I'm eating pizza. I'm eating pizza.
What kind of pizza you got?
That kind. Meat.
That looks good. Where'd you get that?
I don't know, some local spot down here.
Guys.
Okay, guys. Good to see you guys. How's your social distancing and your quarantine been?
I'm ready to get back to normal. I just want to be back to normal.
Dude, I am very ready to be back to normal. The long-term implications of this are causing me terror the more I think about them. So maybe that's a whole nother live episode for another time.
The important question here, the most important question here is how are Coda and Brisket doing?
Yes, we need a update.
We need a dog update, please.
They're doing great. I'm not sure they could be doing better. I thought they might be joining us. I'm outside on my back patio, so they could come out here any minute. But yeah, I thought they'd be joining us. They're doing great. They love having people around. My wife's programs for school stuff have all been canceled too, so she's been around basically 24/7. So yeah, they're loving it. Best spring ever.
It's good dog stuff right there. Gentlemen, I just want to open this with one thing. And try that again.
I think that's I think that's a protected soundbite. I don't know if we can use that. You guys used it a lot on your last show too. I was like, oh great.
Oh, we're gonna get Brian was again. Hammering that button.
I love the
first.
Production.
Steve played like 3.5 minutes of a song, and then then we are stealing the NFL's intellectual property.
There's nothing wrong with that.
We didn't steal it. We just borrowed it.
None of us are lawyers, so we can't be sued, I think is how it works.
Yes. that is something nice. That if we had legal representation like a great company like Brindley and Sullivan, we would know that you have to be a lawyer in order to be sued.
Yeah. Speaking of copyright infringement,
yeah, right.
Brindley and Sullivan will help your family keep its financial future secure after debt collectors break your legs because you stole the NFL's property.
All right. Well, should we actually talk about what happened last night and what's probably going to happen today?
Let's get into this.
Because this is part of my normalization. I think what Cam was talking about is like it doesn't feel normal because there's not sports. You can't go places. You can't interact with people. Like, I don't know how many times I've texted you guys and been like, hey, I really just want to go to breakfast with you guys. It's at least 10. And now Steve's done and moved to Arizona temporarily, but still.
Getting to the dark side.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is fun. We already have chats going on.
All the way down to Tucson.
Yeah.
Probably.
How's Temp, Steve? Is Temp good?
Close, almost to Tucson. We threw him the birdie as we drove by, and we're actually in Gilbert. So We're doing okay. We're doing okay down here. We're holding it down. It's 93 degrees right now, so I'm inside because I would melt. So yeah, but we're doing good down here, man.
Out there in Arizona. Well, that's good to know. But I think last night for me, it felt very, very normal, even though it was not a normal NFL draft, but it was cool to see. And I kind of liked the difference in it. But I think the big news for Utah fans and for everybody else was the fact that Jalen Johnson didn't go in the first round, despite the fact that 4 corners went. And that was kind of crazy. Speculation, guys, go. Why did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, Steve and I were talking about it while we were trying to go on air for about 40 minutes. Steve and I were talking about it, and just kind of like
that's all it took.
It sounds like it's probably due to concerns with his labrum tear, which, you know, it's kind of wild that he played at an All-American level for an entire season with that labrum tear, and somehow people are like, well, apparently, like, that's not good enough.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Oh yeah, he's an All-American with an injury, so I'd hate to take him when he's healthy. Too risky. Too risky.
I know that's the line that came out, but part of me thinks that, like, if you look at a lot of the guys who got drafted in this whole scenario, a lot of them are not physical press corners. Like, they're kind of speedy dudes, and a lot of them are slot guys, which, I mean, that's not Jalen's strong suit, you know. Okudah obviously is good at everything. But the other corner from Ohio State, his name is
slot guys. You mean in the NFL, not
nickel
position,
corners, slot corners.
Yeah, so, but I mean, but like Gladney played outside for TCU.
Sure, yeah.
But all of these guys played outside.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like, well, yeah, they all. But I mean, even Gladney, who's a little bit smaller and who, I mean, looks like he was drafted on, like, just, you know, toughness and his physical ability, was still he was an outside guy for TCU. It'll probably play inside in the NFL, but I mean, that pick was a little shocking to me at 31 because I had heard so much about the Vikings and that they liked Jalen, but looking at his measurables, like, I didn't know much about Jeff Gladney, I'll be quite honest, but, like, his measurables are pretty dang impressive. Like, I'm looking at him here and I'm like, okay, he ran a 4.48, had a 37.5-inch vertical, 124-inch broad jump. Like, oh, okay, sure. Like, that's a pretty good reason.
What was more surprising, the fact that the Raiders passed on him at 19 and took Damon Arnett, or the fact that basically the Vikings passed on him essentially 3 times in the first round because they traded back and elected to go elsewhere in the defense sector? What was the biggest surprise? Because he was projected to go to Oakland, to Minnesota, to, you know, Kansas City, to all these teams, but all of them passed.
I think it was Arnett. Sorry, Cam, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think Arnett would be more shocking if it was anyone but the Raiders. Like, this is the Raiders. Like, I mean, like, if this would have been, if Al Davis was still around, they might have taken a quarterback, you know, like, I don't know. It's just, was not as shocking to me just because of the team. It's shocking that Arnett went before Johnson to me, but I thought it was more shocking that Minnesota had multiple picks in the first round and still grabbed not just a corner, but not him.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. Brian, you were going to say something about it.
No, I mean, I think Cam took away everything I was going to say about it. Like, Gladney is a very speedy, like he's not a big corner, and I think a lot of this is, if you look at the trend in the NFL, it's all about speed, and the Raiders showed that right off the bat when they drafted Ruggs, right? I think there's a lot of people out there that thought Jerry Jeudy was probably the better wide receiver prospect, and they went ahead and took Ruggs. You know, and I don't know. The interesting part about this draft, I think, is that the fact that there are not a lot of guys going out in person and watching guys, and maybe that hurt Jalen a little bit too, is not having a pro day and not being able to verify his health and maybe put up a couple more reps on the bench. Who knows? But I just, maybe he was the name that everybody threw around just as a smokescreen too. Maybe that was part of it. it's disappointing for sure because I think he is a first round guy. Like Damon Arnett was definitely a shock to me because he seemed to be like he was going to be a second or a third round guy, and it feels like Jalen would have been a perfect fit with that Raiders team.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm mostly surprised that the Raiders passed on him. It seemed like that was such a good fit for Jalen and the Raiders because of what Mike Mayock is trying to build there in Oakland with culture guys, going back to who they drafted last year and taking guys that maybe don't have the top elite talent, but are close to it, but they have the character. And I thought Jalen Johnson would be a great fit in terms of what they're trying to build there in Oakland. And so that was probably the biggest surprise we've seen Oakland pass on, or Las Vegas. They're the Las Vegas Raiders. I keep forgetting that, but that was probably the biggest surprise for me.
They're not playing there this year. Like
the Salt Lake City Raiders is what we'll call them now.
Right.
Exactly.
Noted UteZone Blockcast owner Jeff Hansen chimes in with paint some silver on Cam's face and adds some spikes to his shoulders, and he looks like the face of Raider Nation with that mustache. So
he does.
Yes.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks, boss.
Need to get him an eye patch.
I guess it's shaven. I guess it's getting shaved then.
Yeah,
that was it. Thanks, Jeff. Listen, the boss doesn't like the mustache. It's bad for, now that podcasting is a visual medium.
Oh, it finally is. That's so weird.
It's gotta go.
Brian's arrived.
You guys should have seen a couple weeks ago, like a couple days ago. I had this all grown out. It was a disaster. So we're in the right direction here.
I would apologize for my face, but it's the disaster 24/7. So that's why I cover it with this microphone.
Okay, but
getting back to it,
Jalen Johnson.
Yeah. I think the other interesting part about it, just to finish this off, the Noah good blip. Me and Roger Goodell, good job announcing that. He was another surprise pick that Miami took there at the end, and it's like that's the part about this is there's some picks here, and we can talk about Jordan Love if we want to, that are just kind of surprising to me, where I'm just like, I don't know if I understand that pick because Miami's got a load at corner. So what did they take him for? Is he going to be a slot? What are they going to do with him? And if that's the case, you wonder if Miami had taken him ahead of Minnesota, if maybe Jalen goes to Minnesota there because he's second on the board. I don't know. But that's, I think some of it too is that Jalen just didn't have a lot of highlights on film. You know what I mean? Like, he was just a locked down corner. And I say that and instantly all the interceptions for touchdowns come flying through and flooding to my mind. But, yeah. And I mean, we talk about how he shut down Brandon Ayuk, and it's like, well, yeah, he did. And part of the problem is that most scouts probably threw away that game tape because all they saw was Bradley and I embarrassing a true freshman and wanting to kill Jaden Daniels. And so that probably hurt him a little bit too,
Yeah, I think that the biggest problem with Jalen, I mean, with the Arizona State game in particular, like Jaden couldn't get a ball out. So I mean, that whole game was such a mess, but Jalen was on a defense that almost as a whole was so impressive that individual efforts didn't really stand out as much as they could have. I think if Jalen would have played for a worse defense in college, his ability to lock down on people would have been a lot more noticeable, right?
How funny is that? It's the Evan Weaver effect, right? You play for a bad defense, but you add numbers. Yeah, it's
100% the Evan Weaver effect. Like, it's because if he plays for a worse defense, he has 0 targets this year. No one would throw anywhere near him if they thought they might be able to get some complete a ball across the middle or to the other side. But Utah was too good everywhere. I think that Jalen's in a good spot still. I mean, he's almost certainly going to go in the first half of the second round, in my opinion. If he drops further than that, he's already, to me, the steal of the draft at this point. If he drops further than that, he's going to be the steal of the decade in the draft.
Wow. Bold proclamation from Cramden Breck. Thank you for that. I posed this question earlier today on the board at UteZone.com. Subscribe, rate, review, or whatever you got to do. would you rather have them go to a good fit or get drafted higher? And I think that's what happened to Jalen now, is that wherever he goes in the second round, like the hope now is that he goes to the best fit. And I think there are still teams, that can take him in the second round and where he might be a better fit there. And maybe that's part of the injury concern too, is that he's more of a second round grade because of the injury, and nobody wants to invest a first round paycheck into him. But I think regardless, like this, Dan Sorensen brought it up this morning in our Slack channel, and he said this is going to put a bigger chip on his shoulder. And Dan's not wrong. Like Jalen is a kid that has grinded and worked hard and set goals for himself, and this is just going to really push him forward.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there. He's always been the type that's, willing to put himself in situations that he's got to prove doubters wrong, and he had, the type of suitors that many of his friends, many of his, peers would have taken the opportunity to go to a place like Oklahoma or Arizona State. But, he came to Utah in part to prove that he could do it. And so that's definitely something that he's going to do. And the fact that he wasn't taken in the first round, he's going to remember that, and I think that's kind of a hallmark of who Jalen is. And really, Utah football players in general. There was something on Jamal Anderson that I watched on Twitter the other day. And, he talked about how he remembered every running back taken in front of him and didn't forget that. And so I think that's just something that comes with being a Utah football player, is you have that chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, I think that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Brian. I was just going to say that I think that generally as a fan, fit is fun, but like, I mean, if you're an NFL fan, I guess you're concerned about fit and like what team he'd be a good fit on. But like, go get paid is kind of my biggest thing now as a Utah fan. It's like I would much rather see him be drafted high to a bad fit, to be honest, because like, you know what, you'll work your way into a fit, or you're going to get through your first contract and go to a new team with a better fit. Like, but just those signing bonuses are so much higher with early picks. Like, granted, from the end of the first round to the start of the second round, it's not a huge drop as far as those signing bonuses. But yeah, that
it doesn't.
Early round or like early first round though is where like that's big money as every pick that goes by. So no, definitely to me higher pick. Like I would way rather see him frankly go higher to a team where he might not be in a perfect fit, because he's going to have, in my opinion, a long NFL career and he can make a fit.
Yep. So just to kind of give you an idea of the money difference. So total value of contract for the 32nd pick in the first round is $10.8 million. And that's over 4 years. For the first pick at 33, it's 8.6. So that's 2.2 million you lose out on by one draft pick, right? So that's the difference in money you're talking about. And I mean, obviously we're talking millions. And it's like, he'll be fine, and he will be fine. Like these guys will be fine with the amount of money that they're getting, but it's still, it's a big deal. It's a big investment, and these guys deserve to cash out with, what they accomplished at Utah. So you want to see these guys be rewarded for what they've done at Utah. And so, yeah, it's a big difference in terms of money being a first pick compared to a second, third round pick.
I think the NFL contract situation is kind of like the NBA one, in that like your second contract is the one you want. Like, as a corner, you're getting drafted in order to get yourself a second contract, and like that second one is going to make that $2.2 million difference feel like
for sure,
because he's absolutely a guy who's going to be playing 5+ years.
Well, and the other thing too that I want to bring up is that this is a rough situation for the program, but it's going to end up being a positive when he does get that second contract, and or if he becomes one of the top corners in the league, which I do have faith that he can. I think his style of play, his dedication, his work ethic, all that kind of stuff, he has that next level intangible ability of this is what I'm a goal hunter and I'm going to accomplish my goal. And I'm not saying that other guys aren't like that, but he is pretty rare in that respect. I think what right now hurts Utah as a program is that as they go up against the Oregons and not so much the Clemsons, but the USCs and the other programs of the world, they're going to point and say, hey, that was a first round guy that got drafted in the second because he went to Utah. And that's not the case. You know what I mean? It's not true, But what'll happen is as these guys get drafted in the 3rd and 4th round and then go and ball out, it's going to change the perception of what Utah really is doing. And, I think forward too, that's going to change.
I don't know, because I think I get what you're saying, and I totally agree with that sentiment, but I think it's a net positive when you're Utah because you have 8 other guys who might get drafted in the next 2 days that you're going to point at and be like, these are guys who went in the 4th round because they came to Utah. Like these are guys who wouldn't have been drafted except for we developed them into what they are. So no, I think it's wild to me that we're saying things like, how is this going to affect the program? Like we might see Utah called just today, just Friday night. We might see Utah get called 4 or 5 more times, like probably 3, but like over the next 2 days, Utah's going to have what? If I said 8, would we think that's a fair assumption?
Yeah, guys? Yeah, absolutely. That's still on the table. I think 8 is still definitely very much in play here. I think there's a possibility. I think 3 players drafted today in rounds 2 and 3. I think that's, a safe bet. I think we could see as many as 5, maybe 6. But I think that, so you're looking at 3 to 4 today and potentially, 3 to 4, maybe 5 tomorrow. Depending on some of the later guys, the Javelin Guidrys, Tyler Huntley, Francis Bernards, those kind of guys. I know we feel pretty confident in, Zach Moss, Jalen, Terrell, Julian, and Lecky. I think we feel pretty confident those guys are going to be selected. So there's 6. So it's just going to be who's 7, who's 8, and that. But I do think we see 8 guys drafted between today and tomorrow.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that too. Real quick, I just want to get to, we've got a bunch of people chiming in on the chat. Shout out to Dustin Newman, excuse me. I'm trying to talk too fast here. Said, who do you think will be the biggest bust of round 1? And why do you think it's Jordan Love? Thanks.
Justin Herbert.
Oof.
Yeah, Jordan Love. Yeah, Jordan Love.
JC and Steve chiming in. Appreciate it, guys. Sean Walker, noted BYU loyalist. I'm here because I was told Brian would shotgun the leader of Mountain Dew, and I won't leave until he does. If you get me a liter of Mountain Dew,
yeah, I'll do that.
I will do it 100%.
No, I mean I'm not leaving until I see Brian do it.
Good luck.
So I will say, biggest bust of the first round. Like it was a pretty solid first round, to be quite honest. There weren't a ton of guys that I'm a little bit shocked about. And the thing with these first round guys is I think most of them are pretty solid. I don't know if I would say Jordan Love because he's not going to play for years.
Well, right? And even then, he's going to be sitting. He's not getting reps in Green Bay.
Right, but I just mean it's kind of hard to call him a bust if 4 years from now he's seriously being considered as a starter, right? Because he's behind Aaron Rodgers. No one is expecting him to compete for that spot.
Yeah, it's a good landing spot. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say I think it's almost hard to say no matter what happens with Jordan Love. Listen, I think we can go on all day about our thoughts about Jordan Love being drafted where he was. But I think he's in a good spot as far as it's a safe spot for him to be. He's got plenty of time to develop and he's not going to be put under a lot of pressure. So it's kind of hard for me to think he'd be the bust. If I had to pick one, Cesar Ruiz is good with Michigan, but that was still a weird pick for me at 24 for New Orleans.
I mean, it's hard to really declare an offensive lineman a bust too. You know what I mean? I know why you'd say that.
Yeah, me too, Cam. I know why he would say that. I think everybody else does too. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen, if Cesar Ruiz never plays a down, Brian will say he wasn't a bust.
Yes, everybody watch the centers all game, every game, and then you grade him for me. Tell me how much a bust he is. I think the most likely candidates to be a bust, maybe
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, well.
So wait, okay, Steve. Who would you have rather the Chargers picked as a Chargers fan? Because the other option was Jordan Love.
So here's what I know with the Chargers. It was down to Justin Herbert and Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker from Clemson.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would have rather they went with Isaiah Simmons. Look, here's the thing, and we got into this on Twitter a little bit. The whole Justin Herbert thing He doesn't have talent around him. That's a bunch of malarkey, okay? A bunch of malarkey. I'm pulling a Joe Biden here, okay? A bunch of malarkey. He's got talent around him. We can talk about their offensive scheme. It's awful at Oregon, but they just had a tremendous offensive line, a good running game. But man, I tried to be open to the thought of Justin Herbert being a good quarterback. And, I watched some breakdowns of him last night, and I am even more convinced now that he's going to be a bust, because when your best comparison is Mitchell Trubisky, that doesn't speak to a lot of confidence in your ability to be a good quarterback.
Oh,
that's
man,
what we're talking about.
I need Justin Herbert to have like 18 touchdowns and 4 interceptions halfway through the year or something. I desperately need that. I desperately need him to just have an amazing first half, just so I can be like, look, Steve,
look,
you gotta eat some crow on my boy Justin Herbert. No, man, I'm totally with you though.
Herbert, Steve. Why do you?
I'm totally
Herbert?
with you. I think the better move is you grab Isaiah Simmons and you try to get like Jalen Hurts in the second round, right? Like,
well, not only that, but there's still good free agent quarterbacks available. Like, I think for a stopgap, Andy Dalton's good for a year. Josh Rosen's probably on the block now. Like, there just aren't athletes out there like Isaiah Simmons. Like that dude.
Josh Rosen hasn't been traded in 14 months.
Yeah,
so.
why not? Send him back to LA. It'll be like he's playing for UCLA again, running for his life.
Oh man. Hot tub's probably still in his dorm room there. He can just move right back in.
Probably.
No, I think Jalen Hurts is another one that I think we might look back and be like, how did this guy get all the way to the middle of the second round?
Third round.
Yeah.
Wow. We'll see.
Question coming in via the text line. Please discuss Cliff Kingsbury's house. I'll hang up and listen. Who had the biggest flex during draft night, and why was it Cliff Kingsbury?
No, it was Mike Vrabel's son with the mullet. Are you kidding me? That was the ultimate flex, bro.
Taking the upper decker.
Yeah. But Cliff Kingsbury looked like he belonged on set of Westworld season 3.
Yes. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury looks like his house looked like the place that they show like in this first season of Westworld when they're like, oh, we've got to talk to management and shit, and it's like and it's these people who are in these weird technological offices that are like and there's massive outdoor gardens, and it's like, oh, Cliff Kingsbury just lives here.
I half expected to
probably has robot butlers
just walk across the stream just like butt naked.
We're gonna find out that Cliff Kingsbury is a robot. And they're like,
well, that makes sense.
Actually, yeah, you know what? Actually, Lubbock is a lot like Westworld, I think, and
now he's upgraded. He's come back home. Shout out to you, Daddy. Appreciate the love. Ryan Williams has a question real quick. I'm a Panthers fan, wondering what players from Utah are the best fit / most likely to get drafted to Carolina. I had a line saying that Zach Moss might be a good fit there.
As a good like number 2 to Christian
McCaffrey.
That's what I'm saying. Like a compliment to McCaffrey, because he's all over the field, right? And
yeah, I mean, I think we'd like to think that, like, I think as Utah fans, I want to be like somewhere Zach can get in and get meaningful minutes, but like that's probably a best fit for him his first couple years, right? Is someone who's going to come in and be a relief back and run over people in short yardage or something. But
what I love
Christian McCaffrey though.
It's tough to say he'd be a good fit behind the highest paid running back ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think so. I was looking into this because I just published a story about best fits for some of the guys that are probably going to hear their names today. And I think the Panthers could be looking for help in the secondary. And so, you've got Jalen Johnson, who we've talked about a lot, but then you've got, they need help at safety. So you've got Terrell Burgess, Julian Blackmon. I think those are two guys that I would look at as potential fit for the Panthers. So I think anybody in the secondary, I think would be a good little pickup for the Panthers, because there's not a Christian McCaffrey, in the Panthers secondary.
Oh, I heard Brian's draft music.
There's the
It
bar.
got really quiet there.
Maybe that should be our hard segue break into who do we think? Okay, so it's Friday night, second and third round tonight, right? Or do they?
Yes.
They don't do fourth through 7 is tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Who do you think who do you think is most likely to be drafted today, and in what order would you guess they're drafted?
Ooh, Brian, you go first.
Fine. I think. I mean, obviously, I think Jalen's the first most likely to go first today. Behind him, I think it's probably either Bradley or Terrell or Zach. I don't know which one I would pick out of those three, though. This is good. This is good podcasting.
It's impossible for you to have known we might talk about the draft.
Yeah, no, I just. Well, why would I? You know, it's interesting. The Patriots have a pick at 37, and the Texans have one at 40. You know, another team that we've heard talk to Bradley and I was the Titans at 61. I don't know if he's that high on their radar, so I could see maybe in round 3. But I know that the Texans and the Patriots and the Titans are all teams that are high on Bradley and I. Maybe you see Detroit go for Jalen in first top of the second round.
Yeah, maybe.
Just for I don't know.
I think in terms of order, I think we'll see Jalen selected first today, and then I'll say Bradley and I will be the second guy drafted, and then I think we see Terrell and then Zach taken in the third, which will leave Lecky and Julian for the fourth tomorrow.
Okay, sorry. Say that again. My audio broke up a tiny bit. So just quick list of the people you said.
So Jalen, Bradley, Terrell, Zach, and then Lecky and Julian taken early tomorrow in the fourth.
Okay. I like that. I think, man, I wouldn't be surprised. I like that order you had, Steve. I wouldn't be surprised if Terrell goes before Bradley.
Yeah.
Just because so many people have been so high on him and his versatility, and really just, I mean, there's been nothing but praise and people saying that he's one of the most underrated guys in this draft. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go. But yeah, I mean, I think Jalen, like I mentioned earlier, probably top half of second round is kind of where I'm expecting. If he falls below that, like I said, I think he'll be an absolute steal. But then I wouldn't be surprised to even see those other guys drop in the lower half of the second round. Terrell and Bradley.
Yeah, I mean the second round is going to be really interesting because I think last night it was obvious that tackles and DBs were the priority for a lot of teams. I wonder if you're going to see more skill positions go in the second round.
6 freaking tackles in the first round.
Yeah, well, and wide receivers too. We've heard so much about how deep this wide receiver draft. Laviska Shenault's still on the board. Like I think he's a steal for a lot of teams in the second round there. So I would not be surprised to see some of these guys slide down to the third round. I think Jalen for sure is a second round guy. But, you know, as I look in the third round, like the Raiders have a few picks. And Patriots.
Oh, you look at that. Were you guys at all surprised to see Ayuk go before Shenault?
No.
No. He's so fast and so like he fits that system perfectly. I don't think Laviska is as good a fit with the Niners because they have good possession guys with Kittle and Debo, right? What they need is a speed guy to stretch some field, and I think he does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good answer. I will say, so at the end of the draft last night, Mel Kiper said that he expects 6 running backs to be drafted. I don't remember if he said today or in the second round. He said as many as 6 running backs. So you got to think with a number that high that Zach Moss starts being in the mix there as well. So I'm going to be real aggressive and say 4 Utes today. because I think that, I mean, Jalen for sure. Jalen an absolute lock for today. I think Terrell and Bradley are both going to go today. And I think we see Zach like fourth or fifth running back off the board.
There's a very sneaky chance that the Seahawks could take Zach Moss with that last pick of the second round.
That would be, if Zach went late second round, that would be great.
That would be
frankly,
impressive.
But that'd be a little shocking. But I think a team like the Seahawks, man, like he feels like he wasn't as quick, like Marshawn ran a faster 40, but like he's got that style of play that is like almost a beast mode 2.0 type guy.
Well,
in that scenario.
And there's comparisons. I don't know how valid they are, but between how Russell Wilson plays and a little bit Tyler Huntley. I mean, Russell's clearly he's an all-pro, so let's not say that they're the same. But style of play and honestly, with him being a 5-tool player, like they haven't had a running back there basically since Marshawn. So I think that could be an interesting add there. Maybe second round's a little high, but they'd have 2 second-round picks, and I don't know. Maybe Steve's Chargers in the third round. Steve, how would you feel about Zach Moss going to the Chargers?
I would love it, but they can't because they don't have a third-round pick. So
sure they do. 20, right?
No, they traded it.
84. They traded that one.
84.
Yeah. Pick number 84 in the third.
No, they have the 37 and 71 picks. Anyways, it would be nice to add some Utah football players because, again, Justin Herbert is going to be such a bust that we're going to need some playmakers to be. We're going to need some players that can be counted on to add some value to this roster. So. We need some guys that'll look good in those new jerseys.
Chargers going Wildcat, Zach Moss.
yeah, absolutely. Throw Lucky Fotu back there in the backfield. Let's do that.
Those jerseys are gorgeous.
They are
single. They're just gonna run the single wing with Zach center.
Yeah, it would be nice, but anyways, I'm so excited for these guys. I was talking with I was recording with Tom Hackett earlier today, and for our podcast, it's Utah's World that'll be dropping soon. That was a shameless plug there.
Friggin' Bartle brag right there.
But we've talked about this on the Blockcast, and I know, Cam, that you particularly have mentioned this, is that this group of players in the draft is particularly special to Utah fans, just because we've got to see this group, Tyler, Zach, Lecky, just this entire group grow and evolve as players in front of our eyes. Like, it seems they've been at Utah for so long and have been playing and starting, since they were freshmen, it seems like. But we've grown attached to these players, and I'm so excited to see these guys, when they are drafted. We were talking about watching the reactions of players that were drafted last night, and I'm just so excited to see the guys, the Utah football players today, get that opportunity to hear their names called and to see their reactions, just because of how attached we've become to them. And obviously we're unbiased media members here, but you can't help but get attached to these guys when you cover them and you follow them throughout their careers for as long as we have. So I think for me, that's something that I'm really excited about over the next 2 days, is seeing these guys and their reactions to being drafted.
Yeah, I'm with Steve. Oh man, no, I'm with Steve. This group of guys really is special to me, and I'm not a huge NFL guy anymore. I used to be, certainly a lot more than I am now. Mostly when I got married, I had to pick between college and NFL, and because my wife ideally was going to pick neither. So I picked college naturally, but I will definitely be tuning in to watch all of these guys wherever they're landing. Like, I am very excited to see what Zach Moss can do at this next level, and very excited to see how Jalen Johnson fits into a defense and how he's playing. I think most excited, honestly, to see how a guy like Lecky can get into the NFL. Remember how quickly Lecky grew once he got to Utah.
Yeah.
I want to I'm like, is that going to happen again? Like, is he going to evolve into another format or whatever? Because it seems like wherever he ends up, he's just so big and strong that if a team just says, hey, you need to put on 20 more pounds and just plug up a center and plug up a guard. That's not really what he was. That's not, well, that is what he was asked to do at Utah, but just imagine if he, with an NFL strength program and everything, put on another 20 pounds and was able to plug up defense like that. I'm really excited to see how that stuff plays out, especially with Lecky and being a local guy. My brother-in-law coached him at Harriman, and just feeling like there's almost a connection there. It's really cool to see those guys come in, do what they did at Utah, and now feel like I'm actually going to watch these guys play meaningful minutes in the next couple of years. And that's really cool. And I haven't really felt that attached to a group of guys like I have with this one like that. So yeah. This is truly the most NFL draft I've ever watched or plan on watching, because I feel like I'm almost watching relatives.
Yeah.
I just to echo what you guys have said, I think the emotional aspect of sports is really what draws us in. And part of the reason that we enjoy covering Utah athletics and covering these guys is that you build those emotional connections, like Steve said. And as an NFL guy, like, I don't have a connection. I pretty much a mercenary at this point, but what makes it fun for me is getting to see these guys play on Sundays and showcase their talent and represent Utah. I mean, it's great for the state. It's great for the program. Yeah, it's been so much fun to see Eric Weddle be a Ute in the NFL and be proud of it. You know, you've had a few guys retire with he and Steve Smith, and so I think it's just really awesome that you've got 8 new candidates to step up and carry that mantle and do the program proud. I think it's, yeah, you guys have said it all, man. It's just, this is such a great opportunity to see guys have their dreams realized. You know what I mean? And football is such a hard sport as it is. To get some reward like this, I think is just really great. So.
Yep, I agree. I'm with you guys. So it's going to be fun over the next few days. Like, it was disappointing, none the least, to not see Jalen go in the first, but I think, it's still going to be just as rewarding to see him drafted today, and as well as all the other guys. So it should be fun. I probably got to head back inside because of that AC unit turning on, but
I'm surprised it ever went off down there.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're good. This is the fun part about going live.
Sorry,
right?
I've been muted. I have got to get back to the day job too, actually. So, any final thoughts before? I mean, I guess you guys can keep going if you want. I got to drop though.
I need to go back to work as well. So.
Okay. Well, it's been fun, fellas. I think I froze.
No, you're good.
It's been fun.
No, we got you.
Okay. We'll try to keep this going here for a couple more times. We'll maybe 2 months down the road. Should we plan on that? Another live sesh.
We still got 3 more months till July. It's fine.
Yeah, if we get in one more before then, that'd probably be fine.
Okay, sounds good, guys.
Later, fellas. Thanks for jumping on it, by the way, everyone who's listening. That was this is our first time doing this, so we don't really I forgot about you. So I forgot that we were live.
Camdrin doesn't even care.
If you guys are watching this, please subscribe to the UteZone channel and please like this video. And that would be really cool if you could do those 2 things while you're here. That would help us out a ton. And I'm sure we will be doing a lot more of these things because to be quite honest, as great as it is to be in person with you guys, this was much easier than having to do it all in one location. So,
and who knows, maybe next time Cam will be in the bathtub.
100% next time I will be in the bathtub.
Wow. All right. Well, for myself, Steve Bartle, Brian Brown, and Cameron Beck, this has been the UteZone Blockcast. Signing off.
Double peace. I'm out.